I'm Alan Barrett. I'm here to tell you about the NRO, which is the coordinating group for the RIR system. So all 5 RIRs join together in this body called the NRO, the Number Resource Organization. It's an unincorporated organization to represent the interests of the RIR. So its mission is to coordinate the RIR system, to coordinate joint activities when that makes sense, to promote the multi-stakeholder model and bottom-up policy development. And in terms of an MOU between the RIRs and ICANN, the NRO fulfills the roles and responsibilities of the ICANN Address Support Organization, the ASO. So our website is nro.net. The 5 RIR CEOs make up the Executive Council or the Executive Committee of the NRO, and the roles rotate every year. So this year, Paul Wilson of AFRINIC is the chair. I'm the Vice Chair and Secretary. Axel Paulik from the RIPE NCC is the Treasurer. Oscar Robles from LACNIC and John Curran from ARIN are the 2 other members. And next year it will rotate. So next year I will be the chair, and at the same time AFRINIC will chair some of the other subcommittees. And then Axel Paulik will become the Vice Chair and the Secretary. Oscar Robles becomes the Treasurer, etc. It rotates every year. There's a Secretariat. There's 1 full-time employee. The Executive Secretary is Herman Valdez, and he works out of the AFRINIC office. And then we also have consultant Susanna Gray working part-time to help when needed. There are 3 formal coordination groups for coordinating activities between the RIRs: the Communications Coordination Group, the Engineering Coordination Group, and the Registration Services Coordination Group. They're usually known by their acronyms, the CCG, the ECG, and the RSCG. And so in these groups we have staff from all 5 RIRs in those areas of communications, engineering, or registration services, and they talk to each other about joint projects or to learn from each other about new services that they can offer. Then there are also some informal coordination groups to coordinate public affairs, policy, finance, and legal issues. So again, the people in those areas from the 5 RIRs get together and they talk to each other, but the last ones are informal groups and they don't have the formal status of a coordination group. Every quarter we publish some statistics, and you can get that on the NRO website under nro.net/statistics. And in 2018, in the last quarter, we're planning to increase the amount of statistics. So there's an extended statistics project. We also publish a quarterly overview of the policies in the different RIRs. So comparing things like what is the process to become a member, what are the policies for IPv4, what are the policies for transfers, what are the policies for IPv6 and ASNs. So there's a single document which summarizes and compares all those policies across the 5 RIRs, and that's also published on the website and updated quarterly. And then I said one of the duties of the NRO is to fulfill the role and responsibilities of the ICANN Address Supporting Organization, and so there's a separate website for that under the ICANN domain. It's aso.icann.org. The finances of the NRO are met by the 5 RIRs according to a formula which is recalculated every year, basically based on the size of the RIR. So the smaller RIRs pay less and the bigger ones pay more. And this year the percentages are, as you see on the slide there. AFRINIC is the smallest, contributes 7.22% of the budget of the NRO. Our budget is summarized here on this slide. General operations, which includes the secretariat, travel to meetings, communications, some incidental expenses, adds up to $643,000. The NRO contributes to the IGF an amount of $200,000, and some of that goes to the central IGF organization, the UNDESA, and some of it goes to the IGF-SA, the IGF Supporting Association, which in turn distributes it to some of the national and regional IGFs. Then we make a contribution to ICANN. The total is $823,000 per year, and $650,000 of that is for ICANN to provide the IANA numbering services. And most of you probably know that ICANN subcontracts that to PTI, which is an ICANN affiliate. Okay, so the RRRs jointly through the NRO pay for the IANA numbering services, and we also pay an additional voluntary contribution to ICANN, which brings the total to $823,000. The RRRs have set up a stability fund, which is intended to help any RRR which runs into financial difficulties, and an amount of approximately $2.1 million has been pledged. Now, the funds which have been pledged still remain in the RRRs which have pledged the funds. So there's no central bank account where we all paid in 2.1 million. Instead, different parts of that 2.1 million are still in the 5 RRRs, but they've made a promise that if something bad happens, they're willing to use that money up to 2.1 million to help an RRR get out of trouble. As part of our relationship with ICANN for the IANA numbering services, we've set up an IANA review committee, and it has 3 members from each region, so 15 altogether. And from each of the 5 regions, 2 members are elected by the community and 1 is appointed from the staff. In the AFRINIC region, the 2 community members are the same as our 2 ASO-AC representatives. And the staff member is Madhvi Gokul, the head of registration services. The committee publishes its minutes, and it published a report for 2017. The 2018 report will be prepared during the first half of 2019. So here's a list of the members. I've already said that in AFRINIC, the 2 are the same as our ASO-AC representatives, Oma Oea and Noah Mena, and with Madhvi Gokul as the staff representative. The names for all the other regions are on the slide, but I'm not going to read them out. The ASO also participates in the ICANN empowered community. As part of the IANA transition, there were many changes to the ICANN bylaws, and there's a new structure in ICANN called the empowered community, which has the power to appoint and remove board members and to accept or oppose certain actions by the ICANN board. So the ASO is one of the participants there, and we've published some procedures for how we exercise our community powers. Every 5 years, the ASO within the ICANN structure is reviewed. A review was conducted during 2017, published around the end of 2017. The report is published on the NRO website. Arising from the review, there were several recommendations. The review made 18 recommendations, and the NRO EC and the ASO AC jointly published a response to that. And in essence, they said that the first 17 recommendations were fairly simple, and we would do most of them. The 18th was much bigger. It recommended that the RIRs should reevaluate their relationship with ICANN, possibly change the structure of the ASO, and there have been consultations around that. There's some URLs on the slide for when the consultation was initiated, and also a statement by the NRO Executive Council a couple of months ago. That consultation process is still going on. A little later today in this room, we will have a consultation on how AFRINIC should deal with the ASO review recommendations. Also, let me mention here that the AFRINIC ASO AC representatives have issued a survey asking the community to give their views on the relationship between the RIRs and ICANN. So please go to the AFRINIC website, to the news section, scroll down a little until you find the call for answering the survey, and please take some time to fill in that survey. The RIRs work on various technical projects. RPKI is the Resource Public Key Infrastructure, and this year we switched to something called the All Resources Trust Anchor. It's basically a change to the way we publish the root of the RPKI hierarchy. Essentially, each of the 5 RIRs will publish a certificate claiming responsibility over the entirety of the IPv4 and the IPv6 and the ASN number spaces. And the reason this makes sense is to make it easier for inter-RIR transfers. There's a bit more to it than that, but that's probably the biggest reason. Then we've started talking about emergency backup operations. In case one RIR faces technical difficulties, could other RIRs serve copies of their data? In the year 2018, the goal was to identify which data is critical that should be mirrored by other RIRs. And the idea is to mirror it in a read-only way. So if something terrible happens to one RIR, at least you can still read their data coming from a mirror somewhere else, but maybe you won't be able to update it. So in 2018, the engineering coordination groups are identifying which data falls into that category, and then in 2019, we'll figure out how to mirror it. We're also working on a project called ITHI, Identifier Technology Health Indicators. ICANN is working on measuring the health of the DNS system in all kinds of ways, and they asked the RIRs to work on measurements of the health of the number system. So our engineering groups and our registration groups have been working on some measurements, and there's a web page about ITHI consultation where you can read the plans. The NRO launched a new website about a month ago in October 2018, and that's the end of my update. Thank you. Yes, Jordi.
Hi, Alan. Just one detail about the website, the new website. It's nicer, but is less useful, in my opinion. There was something very, very important, at least for me, and I guess for more people, that is the statistics. They are there, but you need to look all the pages to find them, because there is not a direct link in the home page, which I think it will be easy to solve.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, yes, I just arrived, but I do want to make a comment about website as well. In the past, AFRINIC does publish the list of its members, and such list was disappeared some, I believe it was a year ago-ish, and it's really common practice among all the RIRs publish the list of all its members and which region they come from. RIPE.
Sorry, let me stop you here. You seem to be talking about AFRINIC, but this session is about the NRO.
Oh, sorry. My mistake.
Okay.